Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald is now in theaters, and I did a spoiler-free review giving my thoughts on the movie. I enjoyed the movie overall, but I was a bit conflicted as to some of the retconning that J.K. Rowling did, as well as where some of these characters go, the overstuffing of plot and new characters that I feel like didn't have enough time to shine. And before the movie, I went to the fan event of the movie, so before the movie, Jude Law and Eddie Redmayne, they had a public service announcement saying, protect the secrets, don't spoil anything. I didn't spoil anything in that review, however, this is going to be a full-blown Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald spoiler review. So if you have not seen The Crimes of Grindelwald and you want to see it, this review is probably not going to be for you. I have a spoiler-free review. I will leave that link in the description below. Let's talk some Wizarding World magic. Accio! That was dumb. One drop. The opening scene of this movie is awesome, because at the end of the first Fantastic Beasts movie, we find out that MACUSA, which is the Magical Congress of the United States of America, has captured Gellert Grindelwald, I don't know. That's something I said I was going to talk about in my long-winded review for this movie, and I didn't because it was so long, but I'm going to talk about it here. I'll talk about it in a minute after I get through this rant on this opening scene, because this opening scene was awesome. So it's Gellert Grindelwald, or Grindelwald, breaking out of prison, and like I said, it reminded me of the Seven Potters chase in the Deathly Hallows. It was that cool, because they're flying through the sky and all that. What happens is that Grindelwald breaks out of prison, and they put him in the carriage, and they start flying, and then there's this guy on the bottom, and you find out that it's really the guy in the carriage and Grindelwald on the bottom because of Polyjuice Potion. That was awesome, and that was a cool and unique way to let Grindelwald or Grindelwald escape. Okay, now let's talk about the Grindelwald versus Grindelwald thing. Jude Law in the movie as Albus Dumbledore, and in real life, he even said this. He's like, in the movie, I pronounce it as Grindelwald, because back in those times, they would say their W's with the V sound. But other characters in the movie call Grindelwald. I call him Grindelwald. So, if one character calls him Grindelwald, shouldn't the rest of the characters call him Grindelwald? Or if one character calls him Grindelwald, shouldn't the other characters call him Grindelwald? For the sake of consistency and continuity, I would think you would want that established. I don't know how J.K. Rowling honestly let that slip. That's something that was bothering me throughout this movie. I'm like, can we say Grindelwald or Grindelwald? Just stick with one. As I said in my review, I feel that this movie is overstuffed to the max. You have about 3 or 4 different subplots here. Oh, Grindelwald breaks out of prison. Oh, he's trying to recruit, new people to start a new wizarding war because he's afraid that, he knows that, the Muggles or the No-Mages in this series. If you're from the U.S., it's the No-Mages. He's like, yeah, they're just going to incite war and they're going to tear down humanity themselves. We're all going to die, so, I mean, why not just wipe them out and make this a pure wizard community? Which he's not wrong, because we see images of World War II at the end. He's like, this is what the humans are going to do to each other. I'm like, you know what? This guy, he's onto something here. He might be evil, but he's onto something. So, I mean, I kind of side with Grindelwald, but he's like, all Aurors step forward and join me, and a bunch of the Aurors go towards him in that ring of fire. I'm like, you know what? If that was me, I might go, because, no matter what, if you're pure blood, half-blood, or a Muggle, or a No-Mage, World War II happens. It's humanity clashing with humanity anyways. It's like you're gonna wipe everybody out, no matter if you're a No-Mage or a wizard or a witch. So it's just make it pure blood, I guess. Make it pure. That's the stuff I really liked. All the Grindelwald stuff was awesome, and the Dumbledore stuff. Oh, when they get to Hogwarts. Oh, I saw it coming when the camera panned over that mountainside hill, and that beautiful cinematography of Hogwarts was there. You see Hogwarts at a distance, and then you just hear dun 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 dun. I literally lost my mind in the theater. I was like, it's Hogwarts! The Harry Potter theme is back! It's Hogwarts! We're back at Hogwarts! Oh my God! Because I admit it, Hogwarts is the place you wanted to be when you were little. You wanted to be Harry Potter, you wanted to be in Gryffindor, you wanted to be in Ravenclaw, you wanted to be in Slytherin if you were an asshole. Nobody wanted to be in Hufflepuff. It's like, it just creates this magical community where it's like, you're welcome here. And it was just so great to see Hogwarts back again. And that entire section of the movie is awesome. The young Dumbledore, again played by Jude Law, looking through the mirror of Erised, yeah, that comes back. Seeing his desire, seeing that ultimately he and Grindelwald, or Grindelwald, I'm gonna say I'm sticking with one. It's Grindelwald. He looks through the mirror of Erised and he sees what he desires. And we see what actually happened. He had a past relationship with Grindelwald. They made a blood pact that the other one would kill the other one, I guess. That's what the blood pact was, and they did it. And the blood was sealed in this little vial thing. So honestly, he's looking through it, and then you see Grindelwald as Johnny Depp looking back at him. So it's like, yeah, you know, Dumbledore desires to have Grindelwald as his partner. J.K. Rowling has stated that Dumbledore was gay. That's honestly what he wants. He wants a relationship with Grindelwald. That's what I got from that scene. People will probably be like, no, that's him saying he wants Grindelwald to be dead. Yeah, that's probably what it really says. I think it's got two meanings there, and that scene was awesome. The flashback scene with Newt Scamander and Leta Lestrange in Hogwarts, that was amazing as well. Added a lot of character depth to Newt Scamander, and there was this weird scene. They bring back the Boggarts, so yeah, you get the ridiculous spell again. They bring back the Boggarts, and when it's Leta Lestrange's turn, I was like, this is a strange thing to be afraid of. Honestly, it's just a white blanket, like, falling. Like, this is weird. Luckily, it's explained later on in the movie. I'll get to that later. But everything in that sequence, everything at Hogwarts, was done magnificently. The action scenes were great too. I've already talked about two of them, the opening and the ending sequence. Let's talk about one of these ones. It's the one that I felt like was basically what the Fathier chase on Canto Bight in The Last Jedi was. There's this sequence that takes place in the French Ministry of Magic. I thought there was only one Ministry of Magic because that's what they refer to it as in Harry Potter. So I was like, maybe that's the Ministry of Magic for everyone, no matter where you come from. Yes, there's multiple Ministry of Magic. So they're in the French Ministry of Magic, and and Newt and Tina are trying to get this clue about Leta Lestrange. And then there's this random action scene with a bunch of evil cats that look like they're all methed out. And it reminded me of that Fathier chase in The Last Jedi. That Fathier chase belonged in a Harry Potter movie. This scene also belongs in one of these movies. I'm just like, I don't know if it belongs in this movie. It felt completely unnecessary. And I was like, this doesn't really advance the plot forward other than to tell us that, oh, hey, these characters went yet again to another place to investigate a clue that's just telling them, oh, we gotta go to this place now. There's a lot of characters that show up. Nicholas Flamel shows up. I don't know what the hell he does. He has some cool moments in the end, like one cool moment at that, but, like, he shows up and he's like, I'm Nicholas Flamel, and I'm just gonna walk like I'm an old fart. I walk so slow. I should probably walk a little faster. I'm slower than a snail. And he basically showed up for that one scene. I was like, okay, buddy, you didn't need this. And then there's this whole subplot with Credence Barabone, that obscurest thing from the first one that Graves was trying to let loose. It's this piece of dark magic. He lets that out again, but basically his whole plot line of the movie is to go with Nagini to try and figure out his true parentage, and everywhere he goes is that he's getting no answers. I'm like, dude, just give up. Like, this is honestly the part of the movie where I was like, because I didn't like Credence in the first movie, so every time it cut back to him and him being like, who's my parents? I'm like, dude, stop whining. Grow a pair, accept you're an orphan, and stop whining. That comes back in the final scene of the movie. Yes, there's a huge twist in this movie, and Grindelwald tells Credence Barabone that he is really a Dumbledore. So Credence Barabone's a Dumbledore. He's a Dumbledore brother. I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't like Credence as a character. I'm like, why should I care? If it was a character, I was like, okay, yeah, cool, yay! Then I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm on board with that. I'm not necessarily on board with that, because that means we probably get more fucking Credence, and I hate this guy. I don't like Ezra Miller as an actor either, I'm sorry. I just don't. That's why I don't like. That's a big reason why I don't like Credence Barabone in these movies. Also, let's talk about Queenie for a minute. Because it feels like she's really not in this movie all that much, and then it's like she and Jacob are now dating. They're a thing now. The movie really doesn't play on that. It's just like Newt shows up and it's like, oh hey, they're dating, and then it's like Jacob has all his memories back. It's like, okay, that was fast. You explained that in like 2 seconds. It's like, how does he remember? I kind of had a feeling with that final scene of Fantastic Beasts where I was like, he still remembers what happens, doesn't he? So I was like, yeah, his memory's probably not wiped, but Queenie in this movie betrays everybody. She joins Grindelwald. Yeah, that's going to be really interesting in the final 3 movies, what she's going to do. That was unexpected. I did not think that Queenie was going to do that. I think J.K. Rowling has the balls to pull something off like that, and I give her credit for that. But J.K. Rowling is starting to George Lucas this franchise. Like, this whole thing with Nagini. Why is Nagini a person? She's, like, I mean, I have no problem with her being a person. I mean, Bathilda Bagshaw was a person, but, I mean, she was also Nagini. She turned into Nagini. But, like, it would have made more sense if this person who was Nagini in the movie was actually Bathilda Bagshaw, because Bathilda Bagshaw is the great aunt of Gellert Grindelwald. This Nagini, this random chick, is just... she's some random person. It's like, ow, there's like this blood curse, and the blood curse needs a host. So yeah, she's Nagini, and she turns into a snake. This is like the blood moon thing from X-Men Origins Wolverine mixed with like, oh, like the host thing that you see in every sci-fi movie. It's like, oh, this alien parasite needs a host. I'm like, this is kind of lazy, JK, just so you know. I felt really lazy, and everywhere Credence went, Nagini went, and I just didn't see the purpose. And then there's this other subplot involving the Lestranges where it's like they're trying to find out their true heritage, whether or not Corvus Lestrange was actually killed or not. And one dude I don't know his name. I don't even know if he's a Lestrange. It wasn't like, it was implied that he was. He's just like, yeah, you know, this kid is still alive. He's Credence. And here's why. And he explains why, and then Lita Lestrange is like, no, that's not what happened. She's like, I killed Corvus on this ship. I swear, I swapped out a couple babies, or I don't know. That stuff just went over my head. The Grindelwald stuff, the Dumbledore stuff, the Newt Scamander stuff, the Tina stuff, that was all awesome. When it came to the Credence subplot and the Lestrange subplot, I was just lost. I was like, these could service their own movies. Now, there was something online, going back to the whole retconning thing, where fans were like, oh, J.K. Rowling ruined that character, and that is McGonagall is in this movie, a very young McGonagall at that, because apparently in Harry Potter lore, she wasn't born until or she didn't start teaching at Hogwarts or something until 1935, but in this she's teaching in 1927 when the movie takes place. So, I mean, I don't really care about that. I mean, it doesn't explain why we get an old-ass McGonagall in, the death. How would she still be alive? That's what I want to know. I mean, because the movies... The Harry Potter books take place in the 90s, but I mean the movies probably take place now. So if she was teaching in 1927, shouldn't McGonagall be 180? I mean, they did state that Dumbledore was 150 in the Half-Blood Prince, so he can live forever, I guess. There are enough callbacks to the original Harry Potter series, when they come to Hogwarts, the opening theme song. There's what I thought was the Sorcerer's Stone. There's a scene where Nicholas Flamel opens up this cabinet, and it looked like the Sorcerer's Stone. I was like, oh my god, that's the Sorcerer's Stone! And I was like, I took a closer look at it, I was like, wait a minute, it's glowing orange. The Sorcerer's Stone's more purple. I love the callbacks in the Mirror of Erised. All that was cool. It's just, the movie is overstuffed with these numerous subplots that I feel go nowhere. I didn't care about the Lestrange subplot. I didn't care about Credence Barabone being a Dumbledore and trying to find his true parentage and getting no answers from everyone and dragging Nagini around with him. Just stuff like that. That's what I feel you can put in a novel and not in a screenplay. Extra information like that doesn't have to be in a movie. I love Grindelwald's mind game, though, with Credence, because it's he's trying to manipulate Credence to come and join him, and he's setting up all these events, like somebody dies, and he's like, I did that so I could get Credence to come here so I can convince him myself to come and join me. I'm like, you know what, man? I'm like, you are a bad guy who gets shit done, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Some of the romance in this movie went over my head. There's a lot of terrible dialogue. This is something I forgot to mention in my spoiler-free review, but there's a lot of terrible dialogue. Felt like it was written by, George Lucas. Nothing like, I don't like sand. It's rough, irritating, and gets everywhere. Nothing to that degree, but there was a scene towards the beginning of this movie with Jacob and Queenie where I was just like, this is dialogue. Like, this is seriously dialogue. J.K. Rowling came up with this dialogue. Give me a break. Yeah, some of the romance stuff didn't work for me. I mean, the first time we see Jacob and Queenie, they're like in a lip lock, and then it's like, oh, like we're getting married because I put an enchantment spell on him. I'm like, okay, this was sudden. That's the thing. Jacob Kowalski as a character does not progress throughout this movie. He's a better character in the original movie because we get a little bit of backstory. He wants to open up his own bakery. He's a veteran of World War I. He doesn't do anything in this movie. He just stands around and just plays the comedic role that Drax does in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Infinity War. He's just a funny guy. He doesn't do anything. The only thing he does is he just goes to look for Queenie. But like, I was expecting him to at least like be like, okay, you know what? Maybe I should get involved in this witchcraft and wizardry stuff, and maybe I should actually become a wizard and pick up a wand and fight Grindelwald. But he just stands there half the time. Like, I'm surprised he survived the movie. He survived the events. I'm like, dude, how are you still alive? That was honestly my biggest pet peeve with Kowalski in this movie. I'm like, because I love Dan Fogler. He's really good in the movie. This is definitely his best role, but Jacob in this movie, I feel like regressed as a character. It's like Finn in The Last Jedi. Finn kind of regressed as a character in The Last Jedi. He didn't move forward at all in his development. Jacob Kowalski is basically kind of in the same place as he was at the end of the first one. Like, it doesn't really explain how he knows everything still. It takes a little bit of time to explain it, but like by a little bit of time I mean like 1.5 milliseconds. It's like, okay, so he's okay with all this? I mean, granted, it takes place 3 years after the original Fantastic Beasts movies, so I get there's some time, so it's implied that he knows about everything, but for the sake of explaining it to us as to why he knows everything, even though he was obliviated at the end of the last movie, and obliviation wipes your mind. Okay, I get it. You have to explain to us how he knows all this stuff, but for me it was just too quick, even though there's a gap in the timeline between this movie and the last movie. It was a little too quick for me. All the subplots in this movie really kind of bring this movie to a halt. That, if you read some of the critic reviews, this is why the movie's the lowest rated Wizarding World movie. It's got a 58 on Metacritic. Nothing in the Harry Potter series has below a 63, I don't think. I think the lowest rated Harry Potter movie is Chamber of Secrets, and that's at 63 out of 100 on Metacritic. This is in the 50s on Rotten Tomatoes, and I mean, I can kind of see why. Because there is a lot to absorb. There's a lot of characters that feel needless and just feel like one-off characters. Like, what was Nicholas Flamel doing in this movie? He did not have to be in this movie. I mean, he helped at the end, but other than that, he didn't really have anything to do with the plot. It's just an overabundance of plot, overabundance of characters, kind of dragged this movie to a halt. So, I mean, I am a bit conflicted in that regard, but, I mean, I didn't hate the movie or anything. I still found this to be a damn entertaining movie. It's a very complex movie, very dark movie, but I think you could have trimmed off one of those subplots. If you're going to keep the Credence thing, okay, but you could have cut the Lestrange subplot, and you could have used that for, like, the next movie, or the fourth one, even. Something. Because I feel like, I don't know how I feel right now. Like, when J.K. Rowling herself said that this whole series is building up to the Grindelwald versus Dumbledore fight. I'm assuming that the duel between Dumbledore and Grindelwald is going to happen in the 5th movie, or at the end of the 4th movie, and Grindelwald's going to be taken out at the end of the 5th movie. So, I mean, I don't understand right now what this is building up to, other than Grindelwald's master plan of, oh, hey, let's wipe out all of the no-mages in the world so they don't start, like, human genocide and wipe us out as well. We'll just make the entire world pure blood. But isn't that what Voldemort wanted to do? J.K. Rowling retconned some things, but she's also treading familiar ground here. And I just don't see where the story's going to go from here. I mean, I feel like it's just going to be the same thing as Harry Potter. Like, he has that random chick who's like his sidekick. I don't even know her name. She's almost like the Bellatrix Lestrange, but like she's just there. She doesn't really say anything. She's just there. So, I mean, I don't know where this is gonna go. It did lead that twist with Credence being a Dumbledore did leave me wanting more. I was like, okay, give me the 3rd one right now, because now I might be a little bit invested in Credence. Now he's a Dumbledore. But do I really care all that much? Because I don't like Credence. I am intrigued to see what's going to happen with Queenie, since she is now on Grindelwald's side. If J.K. Rowling's going to kind of retcon that, or Queenie's like playing both sides. It's like, I'm just joining him for unspecified reasons as of yet, but, I'm still with you, Jacob Kowalski. I don't know. She'll probably do something stupid like that. I don't know. This is an unpredictable series, and it's going to be another 2 years before we get the next one. So, I mean, wherever this story goes, I think is going to be satisfying. This, to me, is like what The Hobbit is to Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is this grand, massive, amazing trilogy. And The Hobbit's just like, yeah, it's good. It's not as good as Lord of the Rings, which it was never going to be. And I appreciate it. I mean, they still at least created a solid trilogy out of The Hobbit. That's why I feel like with this Fantastic Beasts series, it's not going to be as good as Harry Potter, but I still hope it's immensely satisfying. I was satisfied by this movie while being conflicted, but I like the majority of this movie. And I still stick by that grade of a B. Guys, thank you for watching my spoiler review of The Crimes of Grindelwald. I hope you have seen the movie by now. If you have, don't spoil it for your friends. Protect the secrets, please. If you haven't, well, I just spoiled the whole movie for you, so there you go. Guys, I will see you soon. I will leave a link to my website in the description below. There you will find all my links to my social media accounts. My name is Alex Madden. I'll see you soon. I'm signing off.